Today was the final chance for senators to question federal judge Ketanji Brown Jackson in front of cameras. As John Yang reports, Republicans continue their attacks while Democrats defended her record.
The final day of Supreme Court nominee Ketanji Brown Jackson's testimony was marked by more heated questioning from committee Republicans on sentences she gave to child pornography offenders. Texas Senator Ted Cruz.
Because looking at your cases, and I've now examined all of the child porn cases you've had as a federal district judge, there is a very consistent pattern.
Senator, I've said what I'm going to say about these cases. No one case can stand in for a judge's entire record.
Okay, but I'm discussing every one of your cases. So if you're not going to explain it,
Senator, would you please let her respond?
No, not if she's not going to answer my question.
South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham.
You think it is a bigger deterrent to take somebody who's on a computer looking at sexual images of children in the most disgusting way is to supervise their computer habits versus putting them in jail?
No, Senator, I didn't say versus.
Jackson fielded questions from committee Republicans on issues like abortion and court packing.
So there's no suggestion that after 20 weeks that a child can live independently, correct?
Senator, I'm not a biologist. I haven't studied this. I don't know.
You don't know whether an unborn child could live outside the womb at 20 weeks gestation?
What I know is that the Supreme Court has tests and standards that it's applied when it evaluates regulation of the right of a woman to terminate their pregnancy. They have the court has announced that there is a right to terminate up to the point of viability subject to the framework in Roe and Casey, and there's a pending case right now that is addressing these issues.
Do you acknowledge that you have an opinion? Did I understand that right? You have an opinion on court packing?
I'm a human being, and I have an opinion on a lot of things. I understand that it's a political question, and that is precisely why I think that I am uncomfortable speaking to it.
Democrats sought to paint Jackson as a fair-minded, highly qualified nominee. As the first black woman nominated to the Supreme Court, Jackson spoke of how far the country has come on civil rights.
My parents grew up in Florida under lawful segregation. And I do consider myself, having been born in 1970, to be the first generation to benefit from the civil rights movement, from the legacy of all of the work of so many people that went into changing the laws in this country so that people like me could have an opportunity to be sitting here before you today.
She talked about what she would bring to the high court.
What I would hope to bring to the Supreme Court is very similar to what 115 other justices have brought, which is their life experiences, their perspectives. And mine include being a trial judge, being an appellate judge, being a public defender, being a member of the Sentencing Commission, in addition to my being a black woman, lucky inheritor of the civil rights dream.
Tomorrow, the committee will hear from legal experts before voting on sending Jackson's nomination to the Senate floor. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm John Yang.
And for more on this, I'm joined again today by Marcia Coyle of the National Law Journal and our Lisa Desjardins, who joins me from the Capitol. Hello to both of you. You've been watching this all day long, and this is the third day. Marcia, she again, as we just saw, facing very challenging questions, especially from the Republican members on the committee. How is she doing overall, do you think?
I think she's holding her own without a doubt, and she shows enormous patience. I thought that for a few of the senators on the Republican side, there was a noticeable change in tone. It was harder, especially on her rulings again in the area of pornography, child pornography cases, with Senator Graham even going a step further and talking about one of her immigration opinions and accusing her of being Exhibit A for judicial activism, since she ruled because he said she disagreed with the Trump administration in that case. So I thought it was harsher, and I also got the sense that they really weren't listening to her. Senator Graham cut her off repeatedly as she tried to explain her sentencing of the child porn defendants. And in fact, I think Senator Durbin even had to intervene and say, let her answer the questions. So my sense was that they want to make their points now. This is the final chance to do it for their base or the TV or whatever. But she was very patient.
And Lisa, pick up on that. We did see this afternoon there was this back and forth between Chairman Dick Durbin and the Republicans over documents. Tell us what that was about.
10 Republicans on this committee, led by Senator Ted Cruz, are requesting access to the pre-sentencing reports, especially in the cases involving child pornography that have come up so much in these hearings. Senator Durbin's initial reaction was almost a flat no. He said that he is concerned about the many people mentioned in those pre-sentencing reports, including the victims, including innocent third parties, that a lot of damage can be done to many people by those reports being disseminated in any way. Republicans say it's fine if they want, they'll take a redacted report, they'll take it in any form they can. Right now, we believe that the two conferences will meet and discuss if those reports will actually come through or not. That's something that's never happened before. But as John Yang has been pointed out in our coverage, it's rare to have a trial judge up for the Supreme Court at all. It just really speaks to the tension here. If these reports were to come out, it would delay the confirmation. I just think the Democrats are going to be very reluctant to have this happen for a number of reasons.
And Marcia, this reminds us, and again, we saw it earlier, so many questions about the work she did as a trial judge and in sentencing.
Yes, in fact, one of the...
For child exploitation. I mean, do we have a better understanding of all that now?
Well, I think she has tried, if people were able, and it would be very difficult to go back over her testimony beginning yesterday through today, she did explain how she sentences, and that it is all there, but it was not satisfactory to those who were questioning her. I recall that one of the questioners, and I don't know if it was Senator Graham or Senator Cruz or another one, who asked her, did she not regret I think it was Senator Hawley, didn't she regret giving 3 months to this one child porn defendant? And I think at that point, she said what she regretted was that so much attention has been paid to a small subset of over 500 of her opinions. That's the only time I saw her feeling a little, exasperated that this was continuing after she had answered it so many times.
And Democrats pointing out that 80% of judges handed out the same kind of sentences. Very quickly, Lisa, but it still looks as if she's on track for confirmation.
That's right. And quickly, I want to show the faces of 6 senators that we're watching. We'll talk more about this in coming days as we head toward a vote. Senator Joe Manchin, the Democrat, always a critical vote. He has not said he's a yes yet, but he has had positive things to say. Democrats absolutely need him. And then there are 5 other Republicans that we're watching for different reasons. Judy, today was a very tough day, as Marcia said, and we will be watching to see how that affected some of these Republicans. Some of them may not like the kind of tactics their fellow Republicans were using today. Some of them may have other concerns that really aren't impacted by these hearings one way or the other.
A lot to unfold here. Lisa Desjardins, Marcia Coyle, we thank you both.
Always a pleasure, Judy.